one of the reasons why I like to come out and do these forums is I just to let people know that there's really no such thing as a stereotypical drug addict. And I think that, if we can kind of start to change the way we look at addiction, it might help us on, deal with how to actually change it and make people be able to be healthy and live a good life. But I started drinking and using, just smoking marijuana and whatnot when I was around 12, 13 years old. And, I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. The people that I was with were doing it. It just didn't, I didn't really understand what I was getting myself into. And then when I was in high school, a couple things happened. One was somebody said, if you take this Percocet and you drink it, if you take it with, 3 beers, it'll make it feel like you drank 8 beers. So, sounds good. So take the one Percocet and drink 3 beers, and it made it feel like drank 8 beers, and then maybe take 2 Percocets and drink, 2 beers, and then it was maybe take 5 Percocets and drink no beers, and I didn't realize that I was pretty much doing, a substance that was almost identical to heroin, but it started to actually, I started to become physically addicted to it, and slowly progressed, and that was right around the time where OxyContin started becoming very popular, and I've been, talking about this lately, is when I was in my college dormitory, there was a pharmacy that was robbed, and the next day, our dorms were just flooded with OxyContins for like $5, $10. So all of a sudden, you had a bunch of people getting addicted quickly to these drugs, and eventually they ran out, and that's when I was introduced to heroin. I mean, I was sick. I was, having physical, problems based on the withdrawal symptoms, and somebody was just like, "Here, take this, and you'll feel better. It's free. Don't worry about it. I'll give it to you. You're my friend." And so I snorted a line of it, and it did. It made me feel better, and it was like, at that point, it was just kind of like, well, what's the difference, really? It feels the same, and it kind of spiraled out of control, and over the next 2 years, I had some serious consequences. I've lost people. And I had friends check into treatment, and I started to kind of see what was going on. My friend who had checked himself into treatment was really kind of pushing me towards taking a look at what was going on. I was still like really in denial. By the time I got sober, I'm about 6 foot, a little over 6 foot. I weighed about 130 pounds. I had pretty much stopped eating. I had stopped, talking to anybody. I was completely cut off from pretty much everyone. And then I checked myself into treatment. My family was, luckily for me, I had a family that was able to kind of take that call when I was ready. And I know that this is very rare, but fortunately I've been sober ever since. And there's a doctor who does a lot of these panels, and he strongly believes in medicated assisted treatment, MATs, and he's definitely opened my eyes to it a lot. But one of the things he says is, if you're not doing more than 80 to 90% of the people around you, then you're gonna fail. So luckily, I don't know why I was willing to do more than 80 to 90% of the people around me. But in the almost decade that I've been sober, I've seen so many people die, and the past couple years, it has just been absolutely insane. It's like every other week, it's this person died or that person. People are they're just dropping. So again, I think it really is important to talk about this stuff. It's important to realize that this is a problem that faces everyone. It's not, just the inner city, or it's not just the suburbs, or it's not just, this person or that person. It really does. Addiction affects everyone. And heroin happens to be the big one right now, but, even if we get this under control, we still need to figure out how we're dealing with addiction as a whole.